How's it going, listeners? Welcome back to Cubold. This is our third episode in our annual Halloween series, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about Bramble.
Sure. We don't really have a lot of extra stuff to talk about today, so we might get into the game pretty early.
The only thing that we have in our small talk is, Spider-Man 2, which is, wait, when is that releasing, actually?
People have their hands on it now.
Oh, have you guys seen that, like, big promo they did in, I think it was, like, Australia for the game?
No.
Ben, are you able to pull that up?
Wait, what?
So, look up Spider-Man 2.
I don't know how the screen captures.
Oh, you don't have this
one monitor.
You only have one monitor?
Yeah.
Why? What's wrong with the other one?
We had to replace the graphics card, and it's slightly different, so there's only
Like
one
a-
HDMI
an
adapter for that.
Oh.
I actually have an adapter for it already.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll explain it. So it's basically they did this, like, I think it's Australia, but they did this promo for the game where in the city they had this full-size giant truck, and it was held like upwards by a bunch of webs, and then it had like a big sign on it saying like Spider-Man 2.
That's pretty cool.
It's just like a really cool like marketing thing.
You guys ever seen the Disney? I think it's Disney. The Spider-Man stunts they do. They built this robot Spider-Man, so they have like this live action guy go out and like reenact this thing, and then there's all this audio in the background, so he's not even lip syncing because he has a mask on, but he's kind of acting it out. And then he goes behind the building, and they actually flip this robot spider through the air, and it lands in a net like across a building. But there was this glitch in the one time where the spider actually flew and broke through a building.
What?
And then afterwards, like the audio was like, "I'm okay." Like it was
Oh, they played it off.
Well, no, that was what he was supposed to do anyway. He was supposed to like sort of crash, but not into the building. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember a video of that robot doing like the tuck. Like
Yeah,
program it to tuck and stuff.
But like sometimes it glitches and it just goes flying and like hits something on the wall.
It's funny. I keep seeing videos of the Indiana Jones thing, where the guy like, the actor live. This is supposed to happen, but live he like runs away from the rock, and they make it look like the rock literally like goes over him. Like I think they have like a plate that goes down.
I've
but
seen
it looks
that.
like it crushes him. It's funny.
Yeah, I thought that was. I don't know if that was. Actually,
What is that? Universal?
it might be Universal. I thought it was one of those fake things. Like he wasn't supposed to fall. I'm not sure. Maybe that was a scripted one.
Well, I thought so too. Then I saw a comment where a guy said, "Yeah, we go there every year, and it happens like that every time."
Oh,
Something like
okay.
that.
Huh.
Oh, the other thing you might notice, so we raised the bit rate of the podcast because the prior to us getting new Wi-Fi last week, we had this awful Wi-Fi, like the worst. So hopefully you can see a difference in the video version of the podcast.
Wait, is this the first podcast back with the new internet?
No,
Last week.
Last week was.
Was it?
The only Wi-Fi that was worse was the Wi-Fi when we were on vacation.
Oh,
That was terrible.
not as bad as the Wi-Fi we had in Rhode Island.
Oh,
Oh,
that was a
that was
T-Mobile
bad.
hotspot. T-Mobile 5G hotspot Wi-Fi.
my AT&T hotspot did better than the Wi-Fi on vacation though. Like I
Yeah, that was
downloaded
really bad.
like 10 gigabytes of a game on the hotspot.
But at
And
least we could play stuff on the TV or watch stuff on the TV.
I think they had a same thing, the T-Mobile hotspot or whatever, right?
no, I think it was a Xfinity thing. I'm not sure.
Why is this so bad?
Not sure, but
It's like a
Maybe it's location.
it's like an Airbnb thing. Go to
Yeah.
an Airbnb and expect
They
just bad
go
Wi-Fi.
super cheap with the internet.
Yeah,
which is kind of dumb because you'd think that'd be like a main experience.
it's not even that much less. Like the Verizon keeps trying to push the Verizon home Wi-Fi on me, and it's like $25 a month. But normal Wi-Fi should be like 50,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just you'll have less problems in
Well,
general.
they leave you like a Roku and stuff there. You'd think they'd leave some good Wi-Fi so you could actually use it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all they know.
What? Oh, they probably
Bad Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, it's normal.
It's not even good for video streaming, like let alone gaming.
Yeah.
Imagine people that watch videos on like the lowest quality. It's super blurry, and they just sit there and watch it like
Because
it's normal.
they're used to it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They're used to it loading and buffering. Ugh.
That's like when we first got PCs. All of us, we had
Yeah.
really bad PCs. I mean, at least mine was really bad. And we would play like PUBG at like 25 to 30 FPS.
Yeah, it looks so bad.
super choppy, and we didn't care.
I remember years ago, the big thing was like, And I remember when you got your gaming laptop, it was like one of the big things was like, oh, look how fast it boots up.
Yeah, that thing did boot up fast though. I don't know what it was. I just
Yeah.
remember like I would press it and in like 10 seconds it would be fully booted up.
Oh, I ordered
SSDs.
the Kraken water cooler or whatever. Liquid
sick.
cooler.
Oh, nice. The one with the
'Cause-
screen?
It has a screen.
You got the
and-
mirror, infinite mirror.
No, not the infinite mirror. It tells me like it's not the one where you can customize, I don't think, but it tells me like the
temps and
temps
stuff.
and stuff, yeah.
Hmm.
Because I got the new CPU, but I was having so much trouble putting the cooler on because I was trying to like not lean it over. I was trying to like do it at a leaning
Oh,
angle.
yeah.
And so I think I put it on wrong and it was just way too hot.
Mm.
Yeah, I love water coolers. So nice.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I don't think we
That's-
have anything else really.
No, that's
I mean,
the intro talk.
there's Alan Wake 2 coming out at some point. Next couple
I've been
weeks.
hearing something about people are annoyed about the requirements, but then I saw something this morning. Some guy who's had people to have hands on said it's probably like one of the best looking games ever made.
What is the
Mm.
requirement?
It's super intensive. I'm not sure.
Is it like 3080 recommended?
Yeah, they say like on like the next gen consoles, it's the low setting, the lowest possible setting.
Wow.
Mm.
And
mean-
like anything else higher than that.
From the trailer alone, it looked really good.
They showed off
Yeah.
gameplay.
Yeah, when we were watching it.
Yeah, it looked really good. We still need to beat the first game,
Mhm.
I haven't even started it.
but
That could be a project. Maybe over like that dry period in January, February.
project.
well, I mean,
Because I don't know, like
Some of those old games are kind of a slog to get through.
yeah.
what is it? Like, there's not really much happening in December. Could
Mm.
start December.
Yeah.
I don't
If
know.
we're not still
Because
grinding on
November
COD.
is COD month
That's
for
COD
us.
month, yeah.
That's gonna be kind of crazy.
Play more Lies of P, Caleb.
No, but I was wanting to, and then I realized that we had to play Bramble.
Mm.
So I'm gonna try it again at some point, but I don't know. It depends on this next game, which I think the next game we have is Killer Frequency.
Mm.
So if that one takes like really long, I might have to wait till we're done with the series and then
Yeah.
start it up again. But then COD's coming out, so it's like
Yeah,
timing is always so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
but
can't wait for COD. I can't wait for COD.
I'm not doing the camel grind. That's just
I'm gonna try it.
I'm gonna complete last year's camo grind. I'm gonna
I
get
might try that.
Orion and then be done with it because it seems like there's what is there gonna be like 18 maps or something?
16 at launch, and
So I-
then they have 12 that they're gonna release, like 3 per season.
Wait, I think I just have headshots left.
Yeah, you just have
Oh.
poly. It's really easy, and maybe I think there's the melee weapons that
No,
you need to deal with.
I
too, but-
remember it was the rocket launchers.
Mm.
That
Is it the
challenge.
double kills?
Yeah, but it was like with the crappy ones that made me so upset because I couldn't even on what's that small map?
Shipment.
I couldn't get it. Like it's just infuriating.
Yeah.
Wait, double kills?
So with the poly challenge, most guns are just headshots, but with the rocket launchers, you have to get double kills. But think of using like that. What's that really crappy one that has just
Pila?
like
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I'm pretty sure I did those already.
You
I
can
couldn't
literally you
get
don't even
it.
need to shoot the rocket launcher to get double kills.
Huh?
You can just use melee with the rocket launcher and it
Yeah,
still
I
counts.
did melee for all of those.
I think I tried. I don't know. I was just having a really bad time. That was after we did that one weekend. Well, I think we
I'm
dumped,
so
like,
glad I didn't do that.
It was more than
weekend with
just a
you guys.
weekend.
yeah.
It was like the month of December.
Yeah, but that one double XP weekend, I genuinely think that we dumped like at least 10 hours.
At
Maybe
least
15.
more than 10 hours, I would
Yeah.
say. I don't know. It was kind of ridiculous. It literally like turned me off COD for the whole year,
Yeah.
pretty much. It's just too much. I'm not going to play that much so I can actually enjoy it more.
It's too good.
Anyway. Yeah, but no, not really any intro talk, but that gives us more time to talk about the game. So,
The game is actually probably the best one that we've played so
it's, what
and
was the other ones we
this-
played?
RE4 DLC,
That was
which,
pretty
I mean,
Oh,
considering it's
well-
only a short DLC,
Yeah.
like, I mean, that one's just an extension of the main game, really, so I wouldn't consider it a full game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've enjoyed this one the most.
far. Mm-hmm.
I think this is like way up there in terms of like horror games for me. Well, creepy. Like, I don't know. It is kind of horror because there's like
It is
gore
horror.
and
It
there's-
is. It's very Little Nightmares.
It's just not scary. It's
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah. Well, so I really enjoyed the game, but I don't think we should compare it to Little Nightmares because they take some inspiration. It's obvious, but it's very different in the execution. And I think if you compare it to Little Nightmares, that's for me, that's where like I start to feel like less positive about the game. But if you take it as its own thing, I feel even more positive about it in a way.
Well, most of the community compares it to Little Nightmares.
They do, yeah. But I think that Little Nightmares does everything that it tries to do better. Like, like the disturbing parts kind of happen. Like I know you were playing the game and you were saying like, oh, there's blood everywhere, he's dying. Like, I don't know, like I knew it was coming up, so it wasn't like a surprise.
I think the way they represent it is different. Like Little Nightmares more of like for instance in Little Nightmares when you're traversing that part where you're on like a sea of shoes, those shoes are from children. So it's like disturbing.
Yeah.
But it's not like in your face. In this game they like have you moving through like intestines.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in that game, you actually didn't know it was from the children because you didn't know anything that was happening.
Well,
there was a mystery. Yeah, but you hadn't even seen a child, I don't think, as far as I know. And it really goes slow. It's slow moving and there's way more mystery.
Yeah,
that's what I liked about Little Nightmares better. And like the parts where like you're in the water and there's a thing chasing you. And at least in this game, there's at least 2 of them, I think, right? Maybe 1.
There's a couple.
No, there was 2.
Errors,
yeah. I didn't find them that nerve-wracking. Like I don't know, I took it really slow.
Yeah.
And they still like weren't even anywhere near me. So like, I think that it doesn't do some things as well. So kind of treat it as its own thing. Don't expect like the same game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think you should expect the same game, but I think it does take a lot of inspiration for Little Nightmares. Like it's still in the same
side
genre
as well.
Yeah, I'd say they're all in the same genre, although this one does it a lot differently.
It's more mature,
but I agree with
I guess. I'm not saying it's Little Nightmares is mature, I guess. Like
this one,
but there's just like a lot of iffy.
We'll talk about it later.
Like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they don't hold back in a lot of ways. But I agree with Chug. I said the same thing. Like, I think it's in terms of enjoyment and experiencing something new. I think it's on par with Little Nightmares. I don't think that like when I played Little Nightmares, I was blown away. I don't think I got that much of enjoyment from it, but it's like kind of like in the same area, in the same like.
It's I'm not comparing the games themselves. I'm comparing them like you said, the enjoyment.
There were so many times when I was playing it and Chug too, where we're like, oh, that's so cool, or like, what is happening? This is so like
because they keep adding in these new mechanics, which we'll get into later, that just like make the game more interesting as you go on. It like changes the gameplay a lot.
It's just refreshing
as you go on, which is really cool.
I'm pretty sure it's their first game. If not their first game, one of their first. They don't have very many of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually hadn't looked up anything about their.
Well, yeah, I was just curious about like the development process and stuff. Like the Little Nightmares team, there was about 30 people from what I could see. This game had 20 people, so not a huge difference. But the Little Nightmares team had actually worked on Little Big Planet. They did a bunch of Little Big Planet DLCs.
Oh wow!
Little Big Planet for the PS Vita.
Huh.
So like they're really experienced with that type.
Oh yeah.
And there were interviews with like the head developer or whatever, and he was talking about how they put so much time into making the world feel as like unnerving as possible.
Yeah.
And like in some cases, like they let some mechanics suffer because they didn't have as much time to like work on it. Like, certain puzzles where like you try to jump and you sometimes like don't know where the platform is. You know what I mean? Like these games all have kind of the same issues with that sometimes.
Yeah.
They said like they opted to spend more time on the creepiness factor and polishing other things. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
I think with this one, they didn't have as much of a specialization, so they kind of like took some of the formula and then went and did their own thing with it. So that's why I think it's so unique, and there's really nothing like it because they took something that was existing and people liked, added to it, and then tried new stuff all over the place.
Well, the way they did it, so just a brief summary on the game. So the game is inspired by, what would you say, like Nordic folklore?
Swedish.
It says on the Steam page Nordic folklore.
It's kind of the same thing, right?
It's around the same difference.
So it follows a boy named Ole, I think, and
Ole
and his sister. Basically, they against their mother's wishes, they go out at night and explore the forest, and then they find themselves in like another world or something, and then all these like Nordic evil presences or whatever like start. They have to
basically like fairy
traverse the
tales.
world. Yeah.
Like all these different their version of fairy tales goes after you.
Where was I going with that? Something about what you were saying. Oh, the storytelling. So I think that's another huge difference than Little Nightmares and Inside, frankly. Those games don't tell you story, really. The way they represent it is through the visuals and what's happening around you. With this game, it's told in like a storybook fashion where there'll be times where there's cutscenes, and then there'll be times where there's a lady that voices over and kind of explains like Ole is going through this and feeling very anxious or something. Which kind of reminds me of a game that I played last year in Vermont on the Steam Deck. You played it too.
I didn't beat it, but yeah, I did play it.
What was it? I can't remember the name.
The Last Campfire?
The Last Campfire. It was very similar to that. Like there's a voiceover storytelling aspect.
Well, that's a puzzle game. It's a little different.
But yeah, so the way they do it is like way different too. So I agree with that. They definitely change things.
And I think for me anyway, I prefer Little Nightmares like storytelling style. Actually, that's my favorite, like absolute favorite storytelling style where like they don't actually tell you what's happening and you kind of piece it together in your mind. And I think there's
no dialogue, right?
None, no.
Yeah.
And at least with horror, the more they tell you, the less horror it is. So that's why Little Nightmares is more pure horror. This is more like whimsical horror.
Because they show you straight up. Like,
Yeah.
they show you the creatures and stuff.
And I was saying before the podcast that I was reading that people that grew up with these fairy tales have more experience with them. Like parents probably told them these things before they went to bed and stuff like that. So seeing them like twisted in that way is probably pretty creepy. So we don't have that experience, but we have the experience of just like viewing all of what's happening, We'll
talk about it later in the spoiler section, but I watched a couple like theory videos or whatever. There's a couple theories out there that we'll talk about, but I've seen a lot of comments from people that are from that area, and they kind of like debunk some of the theories, or at least like there's no real like answer to what the game is about. But yeah, a lot of them were saying like, oh yeah, these are like a lot of them are cautionary tales for like not going outside or like don't go out at night and stuff. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean that's usually where fairy tales came from. Just like stories parents tell their children to keep them from doing something. Don't go in the woods. The evil witch will eat you. Wasn't
the original story of that like actually really dark? Like they got eaten.
Oh yeah, they died.
Hansel and Gretel. Yeah.
Which is that German?
Yeah, it is.
Pretty sure Grimm's fairy tales was like German or something like that.
I think so.
Those are pretty messed up.
Yeah, Have you ever read some of the Grimm's fairy tales? Like
I haven't. No.
The original. I think it was either Snow White or Sleeping Beauty. I don't know. At the very end of the story, they made the evil witch. They put like burning like red hot shoes on her and made her dance until she died.
In what? Hansel and Gretel?
No, it was either
it like
Snow White
Cinderella or something.
Oh,
I don't know.
One of those princess fairy tales. They're all super dark, and I guess like most fairy tales are dark originally. We probably in the U.S. we've really like censored them and made them little happy things, but at least in some of the other folklore from other countries, they don't really do that. They still keep the old creep factor in a lot of them. Like, the witch eats the children if they go out.
I wonder if that contributes to anything. Like our young generation is watching Skibbity Toilet.
Yeah.
Like
it had like I had no idea what that was, and it randomly one popped up on YouTube and I clicked on it and I think I was around you. I'm like, what is this? What am I watching?
It's so
like
bad. It's literally brain
views.
rot. I don't even understand.
they have a name for those types of videos. They're
SFM.
What is it?
Source Filmmaker.
It's made with
Chug
SFM.
used that once.
That one video I made.
Yeah, that was funny.
That I made that in SFM. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but I was thinking like there's people call those types of videos like the YouTube Shorts. They call them like
poop.
Well,
there's a genre called YouTube poop, YTP, where it's just like oftentimes you see Spider-Man and like it's like pizza time and they'll put pizza time in like every 30 seconds. Like I don't know, they really just cut up the videos and just throw memes at the most stupid places. There's some really weird genres out there.
I can't imagine like a 10-year-old still developing on YouTube, like scrolling. And
YouTube Poop was around when we were 10. And I'm pretty sure I watched some of those when we were younger.
What?
They're pretty old. YTP ones.
Oh.
I don't know. You've probably seen them. I know Spider-Man was a big one.
Yeah.
There's like memes about like kind of similar to that now. Just like those like compilations, those rando compilations of memes. Like that's basically YouTube Poop.
Those are kind of funny though.
They are.
Back to the game.
So the beginning of the game, it's very happy. And like there's gnomes in there, like little nightmares.
Oh, the gnomes are awesome.
Yeah.
Cute.
Until
well, at least I felt like they really tried to push like, oh, they're so cute. Watch them die.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like they actually had baby noises, and they were actually baby gnomes.
Yeah, they looked like babies.
Well, they were because the dad gnome was there with the beard.
Yeah.
So they were actually just straight up baby gnomes.
You had them play. They had you play with them. Hide and seek.
Yeah, and then you just watch them die.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they don't make a big deal out of it. Like, I'm not gonna spoil Little Nightmares, but when something like that happens in that game, it's like shocking. Like, oh man, like why am I doing this? But in this game, it's just like, well, another one down.
That's the world for you, I guess.
Well, we can talk about it in the spoiler section, but I think it contributes to like the overall story ish. I don't know. There's an aspect to it that I saw a comment about it that someone found it like interesting how they did stuff like that throughout the game, but we can talk about it later.
I mean, also there could be the with the gnomes or whatever, the folklore behind the gnomes themselves being that they're more of like a creature rather than a human, I guess. And so it's like doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I was watching a video. I didn't watch the whole thing, but the guy's channel name was like Swedish folklore, horror folklore, or something like that. Where he's from there, and he just talks about like stuff. So he was talking about the game, and he was describing all like the whole list of different creatures they had in the game, and their like original names and then the translated names. It was just really cool to see. Like
those were the translated names.
What?
The ones in the game.
Gnomes?
Oh no, like
no, not the names. I mean like the creatures. So like we call them gnomes, and they had like some sort of like name. Originally, it was like I wouldn't even be able to remember it, but yeah, it was just really cool to see how they integrated all that into the game.
Yeah. There's the one scene where you find your sister pretty early on. I thought for sure it was gonna be a different turn there. Like in Little Nightmares, there's one big boss enemy that was like the tall lady. Like you see her in the background, and when you see her there, like I think she's even singing too, like like the sister was. I was like, is this gonna be a Little Nightmares thing? But it was completely different. Like just I don't know. They really go after the storytale aspect with the little glowy thing that they go after. Also, a lot of times I didn't feel bad for the little kid because they kind of got themselves into the situation.
Yeah.
It's the cautionary tale thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But because like literally they were fine. Mom told them not to sneak out. So they both sneaked out. Then not only did they do that, but they played with a ball near the edge of a cliff and fell down the cliff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I also had theories like, oh, it's all a dream. Like they got knocked out at the bottom, something like that. But yeah, from there the game really just goes crazy with lots of stuff. The first real area is the butcher area. I don't even know what you call that.
Yeah, it's like it is a butcher area. Yeah.
It's a huge contrast from the scene like right before it.
Well, yeah, because actually I was gonna say it's kind of spoilerish, I guess.
Well, I'm not gonna say like too much about it.
Yeah,
but it's a really disturbing area compared to the happy little forest you were just exploring.
They kind of go back and forth some in the start of the game. Like there was like that, and then it goes like in a dark area, then it's back to the daytime, but then something happens, and it's like I kind of like how they did that. Kind of make you feel safe for a little bit, then it's actually not.
Yeah. So. I think they did something once where it was completely happy out and then literally instantly changed to darkness. I forget when that was.
Yeah, that was the well.
Oh yeah.
He was looking at the well.
Oh yeah. But, that was the only time they did that though. It was like a very stark change just out of the blue.
So the game's a platformer. I would say, but it has some combat aspects. I don't know. How do you guys feel about the combat? Because kind of iffy about it.
The combat
The way they did it.
was okay.
I think
It
it
was
okay
the
for what
boss
it was.
fights
Yeah.
that
What do you
were
mean-
really
What do you mean
tedious.
The light.
combat separately?
So the combat was how you would defeat bosses in the game with the
You're
light.
talking about bosses?
Yeah. So the combat,
okay.
how you would beat the bosses, because I don't think there's combat in any other area.
I think the bosses are my favorite part by far.
You like the
What
way.
about the final 2 bosses? I'm not gonna say what they are, but
well, I got annoyed.
they
at
were kind of
some.
long and tedious.
Final 2, the final boss was insane. Like I think it could have been cooler, but literally I was very iffy about the game until like one of the final bosses. I was like, okay, this is awesome. I love this.
Huh.
Because like there are certain times where they try to be really disturbing and like in your face about things, but the huge set pieces, the bosses, like they were slow, yeah, and like I'm like, oh, this boss is just kind of letting me run around, and like while he's slowly aiming his weapon at me,
Yeah.
it's like kind of forced, but still like the experience is cool.
I think the set pieces were really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they couldn't have done it any other way. The way that did the combat. I agree with you on the tedious part. I think like I can't say it, but well, we can talk about it later.
It's always in pairs of 3.
Yeah.
There's always
It's very, like,
3 phases
formulated.
to each boss.
There was nothing really different. It's like this happens, this happens, this happens.
And like when you're in the first phase and you're just like sitting there and you're like, I have to do 2 more phases. of
I
this."
did
I'm
like the
oh no.
I won't say the name, but like the forest boss, the lady.
Oh,
That was cool. With the trees.
that one was okay. I didn't like how she shot these things on the ground that were like exploding at random.
Yeah, once I got the hang of it, I started to enjoy it. But at first it was annoying. Like I already remember asking you, it was like, what am I supposed to do here?
Mm-hmm.
And then you told me and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
And then
oddly enough, I think
enjoyed
that was my least favorite boss.
it. Huh.
Like I did like it, but I enjoyed other ones more. Specifically the final boss and the first boss.
Well, yeah, the final one was really good.
it was cool, yeah. Very big set piece, but there were areas of it or aspects of it I was like, come on, like this is just like a tick the box off over and over and over until you complete that area. Then like I don't want to say too much about it, but we can talk about it in the spoiler section.
Mhm.
By far my least favorite part of the game was the stealth. I don't know if
There
you
was
guys
stealth?
yeah.
Oh, well,
And
okay, so from what I was reading, there's a whole section where there's like literal zombies.
yeah.
The developers were actually running out of like time and money at that point.
Oh,
So it's not very well fleshed out. That section wasn't
makes
anyway.
sense.
There was a part where you had to be in the house in the dark, and the enemies don't see you in the dark, but if you have to turn your light on and they instantly attack you.
Mhm.
I turned my gamma all the way up and I could just see in the dark. So
Oh.
that part was my least favorite part of the game.
I
as
actually
well.
didn't use my light at all in that area. I still got past it.
Then you probably had better gamma settings by default than I did.
Yeah, I mean it was
Mhm.
dark, but I could still see a little bit.
I was actually playing it on the OLED for a little bit, and then I moved to the other computer. But like I was just the game looked really good because I was streaming it from my PC in 4K, so it actually looked really good.
Huh.
But the darkness was just too much.
Yeah, I could see that.
So once I turned the game up, it was fine. But then I turned it back after because it looked really washed out.
You didn't mind the stealth parts?
I didn't mind the zombie area, no.
I just got so annoyed at
You-
like
It was
I don't know. It was tedious, but I don't know. It was like there were the areas I could see exactly where I was supposed to go, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. And so it's kind of like
But-
I have to do this and then I have to get them to move over here and then I can move this way.
but the zombies
It was kind of like a puzzle in my brain, I guess.
Well, no, it wasn't even a puzzle though. Like I think if you played it like a puzzle, you probably did it wrong because the zombies don't see you if you go in the grass. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was
But if
multiple times
they
where
see
chased
you
me.
and you run into the grass and you duck down, they'll just move back.
But I've gotten killed in the grass twice.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's like there's like these weird
Like it was either a glitch or something. But the other thing is I didn't like how they had that like very mapped out like trail.
yeah,
I'm like, okay, I know they're gonna come over here, but it was like annoying. I don't know. I didn't like how like I had to stand up and they would run
Oh,
around and then
before I
Yeah.
forget, they did this thing even early on where they would give you a prompt or like a tutorial prompt on a random object. right? So usually like, if it's on an object,
Oh,
to
yeah,
go
yeah.
over and like do it on the object. Like the first time it says press this button to climb, and it's on this little rock. So I'm like, I go over to it and I'm pressing it, and it's not climbing it, but it actually wants me to go to the opposite side of the area and climb, because they put the prompt on such a weird thing. They did it like 3 or 4 more times, like press this button to open the gate or whatever. So I go to the button or the prompt to open it, and there's actually a gate like on another screen that I have to go to. It was really weird.
Huh.
I don't know why the prompts were the way they were.
I'm trying to remember that.
Like
I
there
don't
was at
know.
least 3 times where it happened.
Hmm.
And I was like, why did they put the prompt over there? It's such a random spot.
Huh.
The zombie section, the chase at the end of that was definitely my favorite.
That was
chase.
cool.
It was cool.
Kind of reminded me of like the end of, or well, I don't want to say that. Another game that did that. That did a chase sequence like that.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of that. Most other chase sequences were kind of annoying, like the water one with the lily pads. I didn't like that section.
That one was pretty
Really?
easy. Although, and I did get tense from it because I know you said you did that one slow. Was that the one you did slow?
No, not that one.
Because I was like freaking
You're
out.
probably talking
when I was
about
playing
the
that
the
part.
water one or the
water
intestines
lily
one.
pad one. Is that what you're saying? Water lily pad?
No,
There's
the
a-
thing where the
like
thing
an
in the
actual
water
guy
chasing
was
you.
going in the water.
Wait.
No, there were things in the water on multiple occasions, but there is a giant enemy, like a boss type enemy, chasing you when you're in the water. You have to hop in the lily pads. I'm talking about. There's another
Yeah.
section where there's not a boss enemy. I don't even know what.
No,
they were.
yeah, I remember talking. Yeah, that one I was like freaking out. I was like, because it was like tense for me.
Well, it was annoying because the lily pads were disappearing, and I died 4 or 5 times on that part because I didn't know that I was supposed to go to the right. I didn't see the platform there.
Oh, that's
I actually had to look up what to do because I was like looking around, and I didn't know I could jump to it because it's weird because the kid, like, sometimes he can swim, sometimes he dies depending on, like, I don't know what the game wants you to do.
No, it depends on if you land on a platform that's in the water. I know what you're talking about. There's an area in the swamp where you have to like jump to a bunch of different
Oh,
things.
I know what you mean.
There
Oh,
was
for
like
that.
there were like some of the things would sink. and
But
it-
sometimes they didn't tell you if you're supposed to jump
yeah.
or not, and like you just have to try it and then die, and then oh well, I guess I'm not supposed to do that.
Mhm.
So like I died a whole bunch on that part just because I didn't know where to go.
Huh.
I mean, that guy was kind of creepy, but he was also a very underwhelming enemy at the end.
Yeah. I do like how they all one thing that they do that's really unique. I don't think this would be a spoiler, but they kind of tell the story of the bosses. Like they'll have these storybooks that you go through
Mhm.
and read, and it's like I don't know. I just like that how they how they do that.
Mhm.
What do you guys think about the graphics? Because I thought it looked pretty decent.
Other than the character models, it
Yeah.
looked really, really good.
You can tell the budget. Like let's be
Yeah.
honest. Like in some of the gameplay aspects and in the models, like you can tell the budget.
It was very obvious they put almost all their time and budget into the environment, like the look of the environment.
Yeah.
I mean, even the creatures though, the creatures looked good. It was just
Yeah.
the human, the two,
All
the,
the-
was it the son or the brother and the sister? Those
They're
are the
scary.
only like
yeah.
only odd things about the game.
They looked kind of lifeless.
Mm-hmm.
They look like
Yeah,
dolls.
that's why at least for me, the whole story tale thing was a little bit less believable because like they want you to care about the kids, yet they look like the monsters you're fighting.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like I didn't feel a whole lot of like, what's the term, like attachment.
Yeah, I
to the
didn't either
kids.
actually. Now that I think about it.
Wait,
I didn't
I'm-
feel attachment to them.
we can talk about it in the spoiler section, but remember when I mentioned to you, I was like, I wish they did something in the end.
Oh yeah, I know. What
I
you're
think
talking
I don't think you've said this, but I might know what you're talking
You're
about.
wishing
already.
there was like a
I wish there were actual stakes involved.
yeah.
And I thought there was, and I was like, I can't believe they're doing this. Like this is crazy.
And then
they-
Yeah.
they
they
do
validated it.
something, and it's like,
Which I want to talk about that because they do that multiple times throughout the story, and that's I wish they had actually like gone through with certain things.
yeah,
Well, they gone through. There was one thing specifically, like in the middle of the game, where they went through with it,
Oh, they did,
which was
yeah.
crazy for me. But they didn't do it anywhere else.
Well, they did in a way. Like I don't know. We'll have to talk about it more in
We'll save it
detail.
for the spoiler
Yeah.
section. But anyway, let's see. The world. We talked about the world. There's like a swamp area. The town, which was my least favorite.
I like the aspect of the little rock you have with the light.
Yeah.
That was
with,
cool.
with like the flowers. I mean, obviously it was really easy because all you had to do is just walk up to the little flower thing and click it. but like
It
I
was
don't know,
cool.
it was a really cool mechanic.
Yeah.
The level design, and I don't even know if I want to say puzzles, because they're not really puzzles, are incredibly linear. Like
Yeah, there's not really
um,
puzzles at all, I'd say.
what I liked about what they did in Little Nightmares was they made really good use of the space. So like, let's say there's an enemy or something in this one section that you got to like kind of stealth around. There's a locked door on the left side. You have to like find a way to get the key via a puzzle, and then you got to carry this key and like maneuver around and actually get through. So you actually go back to areas like 2 or 3 times before you get through it.
And while there's a creature after you at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's so tense sometimes, because like you have to figure out how to do this, and it's almost like a hopeless situation. But this game would like, you know, give you the key immediately, and then you open the door, and then there's like a monster section, and then there's another puzzle where you get a key immediately.
There's actually one puzzle that I remember, pretty much the only puzzle that I remember towards the end of the game,
Yeah,
with the pictures and the items. Yeah.
I enjoyed that. That was the only
pretty cool.
real puzzle, even though it was a very easy
I
one.
kind of wish there was more of that, because I actually like that a lot.
Me too. Yeah, like where you actually have to look around the room and figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
And come to think of it, the whole Resident Evil mechanic where you inspect the item only happens at the very beginning and at the very end of the game.
Where was it in the beginning?
When you're walking around the room, and
yeah.
it teaches you the mechanic. And
That
then
would be cool if they integrated that like in the gameplay.
it would.
More.
I mean, every once in a while, like you can find like little collectibles,
but then that's just a collectible.
Yeah,
like that doesn't actually help you with the.
Oh,
puzzle
you know
or
what?
anything.
There was the puzzle with the doors and the potions or whatever, but that wasn't.
okay, that puzzle was kind of cool.
It wasn't
was
like
a
a-
little easy. But
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
more like, okay, here's what you do. You grab it.
I was actually struggling on the first one because I didn't know where the bottle with the 3 circles
Yeah,
were.
I did the
I
same
was like,
thing.
what? Because it looked so much different than the other things, and I'm like,
I
where
thought
is
it was
this?
just the
Huh.
circle. Yeah.
I never had trouble because I literally highlighted everything you could see in the room. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was on like the same shelf as the
I didn't see
square
the
and the other
bottle
one.
either.
It was just really it blended in.
huh? Yeah, that section, that was an overall pretty easy section. Those puzzles.
I am curious. So, before we get into spoilers, can we confirm if this is actually their first game? I'm actually
I'm
like,
pretty
really
sure.
curious.
At least on Steam, it's their first game.
What are they called? Nordic Fables, or is this something else? What is Nordic Fables? Is that a big AAA developer?
Nordic Fables.
I don't know.
Bramble.
Oh, Defrost Studio.
Oh yeah, they had
Dimfrost.
an AMA on Reddit, which is pretty interesting when they talk about the development.
Whisker Waters. Well, this is a developer or the publisher.
Oh,
This is-
Dimfrost.
See.
Let's see.
Meet the team. Wait, what's this? A writer and a daughter? Oh no, writer. What is this game? Oh, writer and his daughter. It's a new game. Oh no, this is their first game.
This game is on Game Pass, by the way.
A writer.
I
and his
know.
daughter. Talk about Bramble.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bramble's on Game Pass.
So their first game was a game called A Writer and His Daughter. It's just a VR game,
Huh.
adventure indie.
Leon.
That's $2 on Steam. But that was in 2017, and Bramble came out in
Came out like recently.
yeah,
I thought it was this year.
August 2023, April 2023.
April?
Yeah,
It's not that far away.
overwhelmingly positive on Steam, by the way.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, I think well deserved, personally.
Oh yeah.
The narrator was a late addition to the game. They did it because of COVID.
Wait,
They were originally going to have full voice acting.
I think it's better with the narration. To be honest, I don't know how I feel with
I don't know.
Especially if the voice
with the face models.
animations
Yeah.
didn't move.
I don't know. I think
Uh,
the narration was perfect. 'cause
I think a lot of the just comes down to like time and budget constraints, because they could have done it better. I think.
if they made their face.
Yeah, I think they just chose to not develop that part.
But I thought the storytelling was actually fitting for the whole like atmosphere of the game. So I think
Yeah.
it worked out well. One person says Little Nightmares meets The Witcher.
I saw that
on
too because The
Steam?
Witcher has very similar lore.
Well, yeah, a lot of the enemies are like, I guess they are Nordic type, but I didn't get the
No,
Witcher
I never
vibes.
thought of that. I saw that same comment, but
Yeah.
I never felt that way.
Mm.
Maybe like that Wendigo game we played.
Oh yeah,
We haven't
I forgot about
even
that.
beaten it.
Well, I think the developers abandoned it. This is the Norwegian Little Nightmares. As a Swede that love folklore, I of course love this game.
I noticed the music. Some of it was really good, and some of it was just kind of eh.
What
Like-
is it? The credits music was so good.
Was it the credits music?
Yeah,
I think it
I know what
was.
you're talking about. The credits
the one with the
music.
voice-
Yeah, I'm like,
really
this
The
is
good.
stringed
awesome.
instruments. Is that the one you're thinking of?
There was
Yeah,
one where
there was like a bunch of Nordic instruments.
Yeah.
It was just so.
I'd
It
say-
sounded so good.
I heard fake violin at one point, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I think a lot of the music is really good, and then anything that wasn't good, I honestly
remember.
forgot. Yeah, I forgot. So
Like it wasn't bad. It just
Yeah.
wasn't memorable.
Then there's the final boss music. It was like
Was it
that.
like- oh, yeah, it was,
well, okay,
Yeah.
so Sierra was watching me at this point, and I was like, you know what that song, right? Well, it's called "In the Hall of the Mountain King." That's what
Oh.
the song is called.
Oh.
And I actually like knowing that going into the game, you hear like little motifs of that in certain times, like when the mountain's in view, you hear like it sounds like a stock music version of it almost.
Huh.
Like it's like slow, and like the closer you get to the game, the faster it gets.
Huh.
And up until like that last boss fight, where it's just full blast like in your face. That's
actually
why
really
I thought
cool.
the last boss fight was so cool.
That is a really cool aspect. I like that.
And I don't know if they based. I don't really know the history behind that story or the music. Like, is that based on the same folklore?
No, I don't know.
Not sure, but it is interesting.
You guys want to get into spoilers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Throw
Anyone
up the
throw-
banner, Ben.
yeah.
Spoiler
For anyone,
time.
anyone who's in the video portion, we're gonna jump into spoilers. So, what's the one thing I was gonna say?
We start with the butcher section, with it being
Well, yeah. What that
extremely
was,
violent.
that was like the first time where you just see like literal just guts. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
gore like everywhere.
And when you die, you die. You
Yeah,
get
I was
chopped in half. Like
I was surprised by that.
it
Did
is
you die by the butcher?
ridiculous.
Where he's like going.
Actually, yeah, I died a few times. One of the times he stabbed forward with his knife, and my character went and flew off the screen.
It was a little janky.
It
when
was
you died,
hilarious.
but I got chopped in half, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
That is like, well, actually, prior to that, I did die. I think by one of the traps.
The bear traps?
Yeah, because I think that was just before you got to the butcher
Yeah.
place, and that's when I first realized, because I wasn't sure if they were gonna put blood in the game or if it was gonna be like gory.
Mhm.
But I got chopped in half, and I was like, "Okay, I'm expecting."
Well,
this game to be-
it said
Well,
like
yeah.
before you start the game, it's like there's disturbing images and
Oh,
blood
I-
and gore, and I'm
I
like,
must have
yeah,
ignored
they,
that.
they
what?
say
excuse
there's
me?
disturbing images, blood and gore. I don't even know if I want to say like infanticide. Like I don't even know if that's gonna like.
What?
Yeah, it said that in the beginning, and
I
a
didn't
couple
see
other
that
things.
part. I only
Yeah.
read the blood and gore section.
And I don't know if YouTube might even flag it for just saying that, but
What?
yeah, it literally said all that, like the warning at the beginning.
Huh?
So like I was like, oh no, like what baby are we talking about here?
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
It wasn't shocking just because of that warning.
I actually didn't expect it.
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No, actually, what I want in the cabin, right? So in the swamp area, there's like a witch section, and we're not gonna get much into it because it's like
Oh, wait,
really
so-
demonic and
well, I don't really know the whole lore, but
she's just straight up a witch.
yeah, but there's a lady that you fought there too, who was the midwife who wanted like more souls of dead babies or something crazy like that.
That's the scarecrow thing.
Yeah, like what
Yeah.
she wanted their souls. Is that what it was?
I guess.
It
It
was
was so weird.
It was like when I was in the cabin flipping through the pages of there's like they
Well, I
put
told you, I'm like, read the book when you get into the next room.
they
'cause
give you a book
I
and
don't
it
even
tells
know.
you it literally it's like straight up demonic like symbols and like stuff like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And there's
I'm
a
not a
picture-
person that's like, oh,
It's like a picture of a baby on one point.
yeah, I'm not one
Yeah.
of those people that's like, oh, that's so demonic. Like, but this was like straight up.
It's like
Well,
what?
You also hear a baby crying in the background too.
Yeah.
And like that whole section was definitely the most horror
It,
focused.
just,
and-
it made me.
Yeah, but
find
it's
it
like
easy.
it's uncomfortable horror.
Yeah.
yeah. And I like if they had kept on with that, I would have been like, all right, that's a little bit too much.
yeah,
And I mean, honestly, I'm on the fence about the whole baby thing because at some point you find the baby in a puddle
yeah,
and then the kid buries it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so that was huge because I was even Chug was in the chat and I was like, did they actually just do that? Like the Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they did it. They went through with the whole thing because during that whole scene, you're following the witch that has the baby, and you're like kind of trying to get to her before she sacrifices it or whatever. But what I was saying before with the gnomes, I saw someone point out that because the gnomes, when they die, like you were playing with them and then they die, that whole thing is like a theme throughout the whole adventure. Ole like sees the gnomes that he played with die. He can't save the baby, and like all these things happen to the end of the game, and that's why he's like so messed up. And it even during the narration, it says, Ole is sad that he couldn't save the gnomes and save the baby, and sad that he killed the witch or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he has all these regrets.
He hopes
towards
they would forgive him.
Yeah, like
Well, he
has
didn't
all
kill
these-
the witch. The witch killed herself.
He killed the witch.
the witch in the forest. He stabbed her in the face.
I got the
no,
achievement.
that's not a witch.
That was a
it
witch.
was a witch.
I got an achievement for stabbing her in the face 100 times.
There's a name for it. It was like
She was literally a witch. She was
No.
a shapeshifter.
It was the shape-shifting witch
I
creature.
don't know. I was reading before. It was like
You're thinking of the plague lady.
No. The lady that you need to shoot the people in the trees. No, that thing is a creature that like makes a male fall in love with her or something, and like they live in like a cave for the rest of their lives together, and she's like becomes a housewife
What?
or something weird like that.
No,
Huh.
well, she has like an army of slaves.
Well, yeah, but that's the backstory to it. The game is a little different with the way they do it,
Mm.
but
Well, okay, so that whole section with the zombies. So
we're talking
The
about the
storybook.
zombies.
the zombies are the same section.
It's a part of the same town. The
Yeah.
same town was affected by both that creature witch lady, and then right after the plague happened.
It's because of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened was I don't know if you read the storybook, but this lady started like luring men into the woods, and they were disappearing. So after a while, this whole town started to go a little bit crazy, and then they started like literally having this huge witch hunt, like killing their like wives and daughters and stuff, believing it's them. And those are actually the dead people in the town. That's not a plague. Those people, those bodies were like the women and children that they killed.
It was also morbid that
Oh.
when you're walking into the town, both left and right are
Oh,
filled with
that's
these
what that-
crosses of these dark-haired
The women.
women.
yeah,
Because apparently,
it was a witch hunt.
yeah, it was a witch hunt for like a dark-haired woman that would take the men into the forest. or
And
whatever.
then so they burned the forest, hoping that would finally kill the witch. And at some point, like literally everyone was gone. And those people, the zombies, were the people that the shapeshifter infected.
Oh,
Because you see in the
that's what the
storybook,
bramble is.
you see the guy hanging on the tree, like the same people that were in the forest. That's not the bramble.
no,
the bramble was covered in the zombies.
The
or
bramble's
zombies had-
the darkness, but it's also the flower.
yeah.
the bramble is
the zombies
un-
were covered in
unrelated.
bramble.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. They're pretty unrelated. Maybe the bramble is like the ultimate evil there, but the witch was the reason that the zombies were there to begin with.
Well, I thought the
Oh.
the plague and the zombies came from the lady with the rake, Patan or whatever her name was.
No, maybe that was the plague. I don't know. It was a bit confusing.
I thought the lady in the woods was just luring people away. I thought that was unrelated.
Well, so I think that the zombies finished off the people that were infected by an actual plague. I'm pretty sure that like the rake person was like the plague bearer or something.
Yeah.
Like there was an actual side plague thing that killed the remainder of the town, and the zombies came in and ate them.
Well, because in her boss fight, you fight or she shoves rats at you.
She was called like Plagas or.
But
Yeah,
what was the
I
name?
saw a woman zombie in the house.
I don't know. Maybe they
upstairs.
turned them into zombies, but I know that in the storybook they showed they said the zombies, or they showed the picture of like the zombie on the tree and said it was the people that this lady infected.
Well, no, that was just the men that had their chest open, and she drew power from them.
I don't know. It's kind of confusing. There's like 3 things going on at once. In this
Yeah, that
one
town had like a bunch of stuff going on.
I don't know. I thought the zombies were just covered in bramble, and the bramble was the thing that was turning them.
I don't think it was the bramble. It was either the witch lady or the Patan, whatever her name is, plague lady.
Okay.
Yeah, the bramble was ultimately. I don't know if it was.
I think it was
really
like just the
stated.
evil in the whole area.
Yeah. So I think like it infected the king, and then started slowly spread and like started choking out all the good in certain places. Maybe it made people go crazy and attack each other.
I want to bring this up before I forget, but you were saying you wish the ending was different. And I know what you mean. The whole stakes thing, there's no stakes. Like the king ate Ole's sister, but I knew she wasn't dead though, because I didn't see him chew her.
Yeah, he didn't chew.
And I was like, he swallowed her, but he chewed
stomach
the troll.
acids.
Yeah.
Did she not?
Yeah, but
make
she
it
was
to the
covered in stomach acids anyways when she cut herself out of the body.
I think it would have been crazy to see if she died and Ole, after all like that stuff, including killing the witch and all that, like seeing his sister die, he like, I don't know, has
he basically Ole died because he threw the rock into the king's mouth.
But once again, no stakes there.
Yeah. But he dies. And then that was bad. And then the sister uses the rock, which she could turn into a sword, which was how the thing in the woods got stabbed to death.
Mm-hmm.
She cut herself out of the king's stomach, and then the rock brought Ole back to life.
Yeah, that was her one.
And I'm
wish.
like, really?
I don't know. Maybe it's a part of the folklore, like that rock has some like meaning to it. But like, why does she get a one wish? Like,
well, the rock was part of the small piece of the big one at the lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
Or the tower.
The castle tower?
So basically, when they went to the top of the tower, there was like the huge crystal. When he brought it closer, it lit the rest of the crystal up. It was a piece of that.
Oh.
I don't know exactly what that crystal was, but I kind of forgot about it until now.
Speaking of that tower, so there's a few theories, and so I can't confirm this, but I've heard that the developers have like somewhat confirmed something. But basically, one of the theories is, okay, they died when they fell at the beginning of the game, and they're dead, or they got knocked out and it's a dream. Those are two theories. Another one is that they got bombed because of the time period. But I saw a comment where someone from Sweden was like, actually, that doesn't make any sense because the Swedish were non-involved in the war, and it doesn't make any sense that they were bombed or whatever, and then something happened. I don't know. Then the other theory is that everything happened and that's what I seen a lot of like people from that area in the comments. I saw 3 say that's what they think is what happened, because it's like they went into another world and those stories are real or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I usually like to see stuff like that or try to find the hidden like allegorical meaning or whatever. I didn't see any of that. It seemed like
it happened.
Yeah, it was there. There wasn't any extra meaning. Like what is happening is actually happening.
And I saw another person support that theory, in that they felt that the light brought Ole and his sister into that world so that they can help with the whole Bramble King thing.
So like they got teleported in when they were at the tower.
Like the good witch lady that originally gave the king the flower to heal his son.
Mm-hmm.
She brought them into that world so that they could remove the bramble or something.
Oh, honestly, in my interpretation was that they were just a part of that world.
Yeah,
like it wasn't another world. It was just they just went into the woods and that was just there.
Yeah, it could have been.
Because like, don't go into the woods. The mom warned them. She probably knew that stuff is out there, and they might have been safe at their house, but that she knew that it was dangerous in the woods or whatever.
The people who were bringing up the argument or the theory that they were, it was like a part of their dreams or they were dead, were saying that the book at the start of the game with the girl that goes into the woods, it was like, oh, she was led by fairies, and the sister was also led by fairies before she got caught. So then that's his sister, and Ole is dead or something. I was like, I don't know if I like.
No, it's already mystical enough. I don't know if you need to bring like another weird theory into it.
Yeah,
it doesn't need it.
I just don't think the whole like, oh, they were dead or they were dreaming thing really works.
I mean, I had that theory at the start, but by the end of the game, I was like, no, there's nothing to support that.
Yeah, I think it is like the whole like they went outside, and those folk tales are told for a reason, like because they actually experienced them.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I think the thing you said before about the stakes was ultimately my biggest complaint. Like there was jank, but I feel like Little Nightmares, it sets things up. Like it really builds tension. And whenever there's like a boss fight, like it's really intense and like you are on the edge of your seat. And if you kill the boss, you're like, oh man, that was satisfying. There's a boss in this game that grabs you and jumps off a cliff and kills himself.
Oh yeah.
Like, what is that boss? You
Yeah.
didn't even fight him. He just dies.
Mhm.
Like the butcher, you throw light in his eyes, and then he stops attacking you for a little bit. He never dies.
You threw like blood in his eyes. You didn't have to light
No,
at that
you
point.
shine the light.
Yeah,
The butcher?
yeah. It was the same like shooting
Actually-
mechanic.
I thought when he slammed it, the blood fell down from the ceiling and you threw it in his eyes.
Oh, maybe it was, but still, like that really shouldn't have done a whole lot.
yeah.
You know, I mean, you get away from him. I'm pretty sure he's alive for the whole game.
Well, I don't
Just,
think
like,
he's actively out for you though. He was
just
he
hungry.
just saw you and was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna kill this thing, whatever this
no,
is."
he's not. But also, that's also what makes Little Nightmares creepy, is because when they see you, they want you.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna hunt you down.
Mhm.
Like the giant that kidnaps his sister. He doesn't do a very good job of hunting you. Like he puts his little light there, and then he like looks back and forth
hmm
at the wall so you can easily go by him.
That was very Little Nightmare-esque.
It was
The light
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Well, there were a
same
couple
with
moments.
same with the intestines monster.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
There was a couple.
that was the
things
book thing that I was thinking of.
Yeah,
that was the one that I
Or,
took
I'm sorry,
really
not the
easy.
book. The shoe area. in
yeah.
Little Nightmares.
Where you sacrifice the gnome.
Well,
Yeah.
that was stupid too, because I didn't know there's a gnome in there. I'm like, oh, what is this cage? And I push it.
No,
and then,
you kind of have to. It's like a
yeah.
if you
they
try to
force you
run for
to?
the thing without pushing the gnome, you're gonna die because the gnome is used as bait, so
Yeah,
for
but
you to get to the end.
I feel like that could have been better set up. Like maybe he's like the only gnome that's with you, and you're protecting him for a while, and then
Mm.
you're forced to like actually throw him to
Oh,
the
that would be
wolves, and he gets
dark.
destroyed in front of you. Like
Mm,
that would really have an impact.
yeah.
Like instead you push his cage into the blood, and he's assumed that he drowned, because I don't know if the monster could get to him in the cage, but there's really no stakes. Like I'm like, I didn't feel bad. Like I would have if I had known he was in there, but the
Mhm.
game like forces it on you, and I was like, all right, game, I see what you're trying to do.
Mhm.
More so than like, I don't know, if they make you do something and then you feel bad about it, that's one thing, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like in
Yeah, no, I
certain
know
cases
what-
throughout the whole game, it's like that.
Well, it's very like, I don't want to say, it's kind of like cookie cutter in a way. Like the ending was pretty cookie cutter, happy ending, which I'm fine with.
I mean,
But there weren't any like, yeah, there weren't any stakes, or like a lot of areas didn't have any stakes. It's kind of
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like you said
cut and
before,
dry.
it's kind of cookie cutter. But the thing is, like, they did so many things in the game that like surprised us.
Like it is, yeah, it is. It is.
and then
but
all of a sudden they just do the basic. Oh,
yeah,
the rock is gonna bring it back to life. Boom! They lived
Yeah.
happily ever after. It's like
it is, but it isn't. Like the baby thing with the witch, that is
Yeah.
definitely not. And I'm very surprised that they did that.
Yeah. Well, they didn't stick to their own theme. Unlike, okay, so there's two interpretations here. The interpretation, I guess, could be he's desperately trying to save these creatures and he can't. And at the very end, he finds out that he can't really save his sister, so he makes one last attempt and sacrifices himself, and that's when he can actually save. So I guess that's one interpretation. But the way I saw it was they tried to do this thing where like Oleg couldn't save them and he was sad and he wants their forgiveness, and then he's like couldn't save his sister, but then he did. So what was the point of all of that leading up to it? It kind of invalidates that as well. Like, yeah, you let all these creatures die, but then oh well, go live happily ever after.
Yeah.
Zero consequences at all.
Mm.
Just the part where the giant showed up, like I thought that was crazy, the set piece, and then he just eats the sister, and I was like, that is insane. I can't believe they
Yeah.
would do that. And like I was already that put it on like Little Nightmares level for me right there. But then like they undid it and it drew it back.
Yeah,
You know?
Little Nightmares would have stuck to that.
Maybe
the
if he had
difference.
died when saving her, that would have been fine. The sister lived happily ever after,
Yeah.
or whatever. But
And it's still a cautionary tale.
yeah,
But
usually
it's
the
not.
cautionary tales end in both kids
Yeah.
dying.
But imagine they did it in a way where he gets eaten too, and he goes in and sees his dead sister, and then he dies, and then that's the end of the game. and it's just
Nah, I
him in
don't
the
know.
stomach.
Just the fact that like the giant was huge, and he even ate that other guy.
Yeah, but he chewed him.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I thought that boss was impactful because you were running from this guy for a while, this giant, and then there's this massive guy that just eats him in like 3 bites,
Yeah.
and like just utterly shows how powerless you are now. Like this guy will destroy everything.
Mhm.
And then there's a whole scene with like the whole boss fight and the music crescendoing was insane.
I kept dying by that stupid thing where he take his sword and baton and whack it together.
Yeah.
I kept dying by that. I'm like, dude, how are you supposed to do this?
So that's
I had looked it up, and when he does not the baton, the scepter, it hits the ground and it always rains down these little rocks. After he does that, he will do the double one, but you're supposed to hide behind the rocks.
Yeah.
Sometimes he did the sword after. He would switch it up.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
he would switch it up. Yeah,
if he does the double one, he always has done the single scepter first because the rocks should be there.
Yeah.
The only way to survive that is to hide behind those rocks that fall.
Yeah, that was the one. That's one of the reasons I had some issues with that boss fight was because it was okay. The little flowers on his shoulders regen like each time.
they don't regen. Actually, they
come
each
like,
phase. Yes,
First it was 3, then it was like 4. Or no, there's only 2 phases, right?
there's 3.
Oh, but the last one I was like, oh my gosh, there's like 15 flowers, and I have to do this: hide behind the rock, shoot the flower. He'll do it again, hide behind the rock, and then if I die in between that process, it resets,
Yeah.
and I have to shine the light at the.
I
flowers.
reset a lot on that.
I wish it would allow you to like do a couple flowers at a time, but you're risking it. Like if you're getting greedy, you could do 2 flowers, but you can only do 1, and then it resets, and he does the thing, and then you do it, and then it.
You only have like such little leeway because the kid is super slow.
Well, I did it really fast because I found that if you get the timings right, you could get about 2 shots in before he did anything. So if you did it like right at the end of an attack and right before he did another attack, you could get 2 in. But
yeah.
I don't know, like at the end boss fight, it wasn't that difficult. There's the other one you were talking about where you're in the boat, which
The rat one.
honestly, my issue with that fight was how janky the controls were with the oars. I never figured out how to do it. I was like holding the buttons and then he like stops sometimes. I would alternate. I would tap them. Like nothing would make him go faster.
one?
It was the same thing with you doing the pulley
The rope,
system
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It was like every once in a while it would just like three
Yeah.
taps with the R2. Oh no, I have to do L2.
I just went like this
for 2 taps.
Like
yeah.
just spam that.
The rope one, I got to a consistent rhythm, but the boat, I never could. Even after the boss fight, I was like, all right, let me just try to do this slowly and figure this out. And I
Mhm.
couldn't figure it out.
Wait,
Yeah.
the in the boat boss fight when she like is trying to eat you and her head
Yeah.
is like
The first time that actually
It's
scared
so
It
me.
actually killed
goofy.
me the first
Yeah,
time.
I died out the first time. Like
so
I was
goofy.
mad at it the first time. Like this is the stupidest thing ever, but it actually was kind of creepy. Like just right in your face.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, that boss was a little bit long. I think it should have been maybe 1 phase.
That's the main thing that I said was a little tedious. It was
Yeah.
just-
But it was like High Lord Wolnir fight.
I thought it was kind of. I thought
yeah.
it was kind of creepy with like the eyes behind you in the boat, like they were like glowing yellow.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
when you're
with it
rowing.
going dark. and
Yeah,
light.
I thought
yeah,
that
that
was
was
pretty creepy.
pretty creepy.
Yeah, and you're rowing the boat at first, and then like you blink or something, and then like the enemy's behind you.
Yeah.
Like that could have been a jump scare. I never got jump scared at all in this game.
I don't think I ever
It's not
got
that type
jump
of game.
scares. No. But I think this was great though. I think this was like just what we needed for like that. We're waiting for Little Nightmares 3, so it's kind of like that
Mm-hmm.
that in between for us.
And
Mhm.
we're also checking our expectations with the third one too, because it's not by the same team.
I'm worried, to be honest.
Well,
yeah.
it's gonna be co-op.
That'll be
So
interesting.
one
I
of
don't
us
know
is
if I want to play co-op though.
I know. I was gonna say one of us is gonna.
Well, we were worried about Little Nightmares 2 having the second player, the second AI
Yeah.
person. So, and that worked out pretty well. So,
That is
Mhm.
true.
Well, I feel like it wouldn't be as scary if you played it co-op for sure.
yeah.
People are mad already that it's not going to have the same characters. I'm like, I don't want the same characters. I want different
Mhm.
ones.
Well, I'm curious.
Something
New
new.
story in the
I feel
world.
like they have to. Well, the thing is, I don't know if I should say it. It'll be a spoiler for Little Nightmares 2, but there is more story for the 4-6.
Hmm.
We can talk
That
about
was the other game, yeah.
Yeah, but there's more. Like, there's a cliffhanger for 6, so there's something afterwards. So I'm curious if they're going to connect it. Then the 4th game is going to be 6 again, or
I don't know.
I don't know. But
Be interesting.
we do have the drinks again.
Oh,
yeah.
no. Is it ranch
Oh,
time?
okay. Let's to choose this time.
Even though it's a random choice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
pretty much.
We won't have to do the ranch if you don't, because I know you're like Chug really doesn't like ranch, let alone like.
I mean, it is
drink
just like the smallest sip ever. So
yeah. That looks yellow to me.
It's oh no.
This morning I was
Ew,
eating one of my
what?
vitamins, and I got this new sort of vitamin or whatever that it's like a quick dissolve, and I hate it.
Oh
Like
no.
I ran out of water on my last sip, and it didn't go down. Like it got tongue. So I sprinted to get more water, and it started dissolving on my tongue,
I'm
and I
scared of
gagged.
this.
That's the worst. Huh?
Sweet corn.
Sweet corn.
know,
This is gonna be.
Sweet corn.
If it's sweet though, I don't know.
I don't know. You have to use your
Ah.
keys. I could do it.
I feel better about that than fried chicken or whatever that
Yeah,
was.
I always panic when I try to swallow my pills and then one gets stuck on my tongue and it starts dissolving.
Yeah, I hate
Or
that.
that one meme with the giant pill.
Yeah,
It's a hard pill to swallow.
and it's just a literal giant pill. I love that. Would that be an anti-meme? Is that what you call it? Where it's like literal?
No, I have a couple of those literal memes. They're kind of funny.
That one video I sent in the chat where it's like, when you can't do this with, or what is it? It's like, you haven't lived if you haven't done this, and it has an image of like someone breathing in and breathing
Like
out
this.
or something. It's so good.
It kind of reminds me of like that Pokemon one where it's like when you're tearing out the intestines of a Pokemon trainer and it's Boss Baby crying.
What?
But it's funny because like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like that you're tearing out their intestines. Like doesn't matter if they're a Pokemon trainer or not, or a Pokemon player.
We were
Oh.
playing Jackbox on vacation, and one of the prompts that came up was, "How do you annoy?" It was me. How do you annoy this player? And Chug's response was, "Stab him in the chest."
With a knife.
Yeah, that's how you annoy me. You just straight up stab me to death.
I love those literal memes.
Mm-hmm.
This already smells
this
really
is a good
good.
one.
Good? It smells good?
Again.
What is it? I wish we could show it on the screen right
Yeah.
now. But we're just getting this corn drink ready.
This is so annoying. I gotta get one of those like. I gotta get a bottle opener.
So you can open up your
Bottle.
bottles.
Yeah. I never
Oh,
drink
this
bottles
is a
like
funny one though. This isn't an anti-meme. It's a coloring book with Qui-Gon Jinn and Jar Jar
Whoa.
Binks is whispering in
What
his
was that?
ear, and the caption is
Ew,
Jesus
you
being
got sweet
tempted
corn
by
on your
Satan in
arm.
the desert.
Oh, that smells gross. I'm gonna wash this off after. I'm not gonna like this one. There's something about it. Like I don't mind sweet corn to be honest, but just the thought of it being a drink is really disturbing to me.
Like
You were more fine with the chicken one.
The chicken one
Chicken wasn't
all that
bad.
bad. I still got goosebumps.
How do you have meat drink? That's just weird.
Do you guys smell that?
no.
Why is it so? It's so uncanny. Like this shouldn't be.
Mm.
Ben, come grab your yummy.
Oh
what the
yeah, I
bottle
smell it
looks
now.
like.
That smells weird.
I'm not smelling it.
It smells like vomit.
I don't want to smell
I don't like that smell at all.
It smells like sweet corn, but it's not.
It doesn't.
good.
Rotten
It's not the
sweet corn.
Thanksgiving like,
It's the corn in the garbage the day after Thanksgiving.
and you have to drink it.
Did you just smell it close up? I'm not doing that.
Do it, Jenna. Try it.
I gotta drink it in a
Just sniff
second.
it.
I can smell it already.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
All
I'm just gonna tap my tongue against this.
3, 2,
Ugh.
Oh,
Oh, it's so sweet.
it does oddly taste like corn though.
The aftertaste isn't too bad.
No, the aftertaste is worse, but it actually tastes like corn.
Ugh.
Like
Oh, it's like so gross.
I got goosebumps again.
The smell is so bad.
for a second there, I like could have sworn I had corn in my mouth. Like
Yeah.
for real, it actually really tastes like it, but it's
Made with the juices that's found in the can.
Yeah, how do they
Actually,
replicate this?
that might just be carbonated corn juice.
Yeah. Trying to see the ingredients.
That's gross.
Wait. Oh, carbonated artisan spring water, Okay. Pure cane sugar, citric acid, natural and artificial flavors, yellow 5, yellow 6, flash pasteurized stability. What? Flash
want any,
pasteurized
Ben?
and stability and safety.
Ben grabs it and he just starts chugging the whole thing.
That's really gross.
Imagine you go to someone's house and you open their fridge and it's full of that. You'd be like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
They're like, you want a drink?
What do you got? Oh, I got sweet corn, buffalo chicken.
Buffalo chicken.
Peanut butter jelly.
That one wasn't too bad, I guess. I think that's.
The bread. The
Oh,
bread
the
aftertaste
bread
was
was
really
bad.
gross.
How did they get bread taste in there?
I think the barbecue chicken was the least worst.
It wasn't barbecue chicken. It was buffalo chicken.
a buffalo.
Yeah, that one didn't taste a lot of anything.
Yeah, that one was really bad. That one's really gross.
It just, I don't know. It smells like the Big E bathrooms, like a fair urinal or something.
And you wouldn't think like sweet corn. It wouldn't be like the worst, I guess. But the smell is so intense. Like it's.
It was if it was regular corn, it might actually be decent smell.
What? No, I don't know.
No, it's this. It's like that sweet corn savoriness that is gross.
Yeah, it tastes like you
I'm
took all the
pretty sure-
corn out of the can from a sweet corn can and drank the.
Is there a difference
Yeah.
between normal corn and sweet corn?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
Big
there's
difference.
sugar or sweetener added to it.
Huh.
So the corn alone is pretty sweet, but
Because I don't usually have sweet corn, but
Usually, sweet corn.
it's like a southern thing. I get it from.
It has like a whitish tint to it,
huh?
like the actual liquid.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
And then the regular corn is like, I don't know.
All right. Well, that was that. Good game. Definitely
game.
recommend playing it. It's on Game Pass.
Oh, I
so-
thought you were saying GG to the drink.
Good
No.
game. Good game.
Yeah, so next week we'll do Killer Frequency, which I think is going to be pretty interesting. From the trailer, it looked really
I
good.
hope it's good. I hope
Yeah.
it's good.
Is that our last week?
We have one more after, but I mean,
that'll be Halloween would be
because we
over.
skipped 1 week.
Yeah. So we might have to do the other game another time, or we could just do the other game and just not make it Halloween series. Mundan.
Yeah, I'm down to. Yeah.
So we'll see. But all right, thanks everyone for watching and listening, and we will see you in the next episode.